I'm a girl, and I was a virgin until I was 21. Losing my virginity was something that I wanted to be perfect. I had wanted it to be perfect as long as I was old enough to want such a thing. I was terrified of wasting it, giving it up to the wrong person, coming out with a bad memory. I was so terrified of regret. The man I lost it to was 28 at the time, so a fair bit older. He had only had sex with one other woman before, long relationship. He and I were friends for about 2 years before we started dating. We fell in love slowly a little at a time, and eventually started dating. We dated for months, and over the course of it, we talked about how we felt about sex, previous sexual experiences, what we wanted out of sex and each other. He never rushed me, just guided me when I wanted it. He knew I was scared. He knew how much it meant to me. It came to a time when both of us knew it would happen, and soon. There was a Friday night, we were both free all night, and the weekend. We cooked a nice dinner together, and he took me into the bedroom. That night when we were both naked and touching each other, I started to get scared. He told me that we didn't have to do anything before I was ready. I started to cry and told him that I wanted to be ready, but I was frightened. I loved him so much. I wanted it to be perfect. I had been a virgin so long. I didn't know what it would be like not to be one. I was scared of what would happen, that it might not be what I had waited for. He held me for a long time. He told me he loved me no matter what, that I was beautiful and sexy, that he wasn't going to leave me, that I meant everything to him. He told me I didn't have to be scared if he was there. He wanted it to be perfect too. And it would be, because it was us. We started kissing and touching again. Everything was so slow and gentle and loving and caring. It took a long time for him to push into me. He was very thick by then, and I didn't know how to relax my body and let him in. It was a long, slow process. When he was finally in me, he held me close and rested there so I could get used to him. He started moving eventually, but I was paralyzed. Every muscle in my body was tense and singing. I remember him having me wrap my legs around his, but I could barely coordinate myself enough to manage that. I just kept repeating, I never knew, I never knew. You think you think they tell you, but I never knew. They can't tell you. I never knew. I thought I knew, I never knew, I never knew. He would ask if I was hurt or okay or it felt good, and I would interrupt my litany. I also talked about things I was feeling. I never knew. It feels so good, it doesn't hurt. I never knew it would feel so good. I never knew it would feel like this. My hands and tingling. I can't feel my legs. I never knew. I feel warm. You feel warm, I never knew I can feel you so deep like I've never felt anything. Never felt anything else. Never felt anything so perfect. More than I imagined. I never knew. Afterward, he stayed on top of me, holding me. I wept a little. Hot, happy tears on my cheeks. I remember both our smiles when he kissed them off me. He gave me more than I had even the imagination to wish for. I was numb and shaky from the newness and the pleasure. It was a while before I could move. He told me he loved me, that I was perfect and beautiful and felt wonderful. We spent most of the weekend in bed. It was a few times more before I could engage in sex more actively. The unfamiliarity and pleasure was paralyzing. It was weeks before I could have sex without talking the whole time. Wow, that feels really good. I didn't know you could do that. Hey, what are you doing there? Whoa, that was unexpected, but hey, you don't hear me complaining. Apparently it was a nervous thing. He thought it was sweet and funny. That was a year ago. We are still together now. He is still a caring, exciting, loving, creative, and enthusiastic lover. And boyfriend. I am glad to have waited for him, and glad to have found a man worth waiting for. I know something like this isn't for everyone, but I hope it comes to everyone who wishes for it. I do wish I hadn't put so much pressure on myself to wait for perfection. I know now that it would have been perfect with him, no matter what. I am glad, though, to have shared my first time with him.